If one of your career growth goals is to become an executive, then in this video, what I'm going to share with you are 5 rules on how to prepare for that executive career path. However, if you're listening to this and you're not 100% certain that career growth and executive path is in your goals, then this video, these 5 rules are going to help you to have that clarity. So I'm going to share these 5 rules in the order of poise. The word poise is P.O.I.S.E. because when it comes to becoming prepared, we are prepared with poise. We are posturing ourselves. So that's why I chose that word. So each of the 5 rules will start with the letters of the word poise. Let's get started. Rule number 1 is P, and P stands for perceive your purpose and career direction. Now, perceive is the verb for perception. To perceive means to notice and discern so that you might become aware. Now, becoming aware of your purpose and career direction, it is a perception because your life is going to demonstrate to you what your life purpose is. Your life is going to demonstrate to you what you value most. Your life is going to demonstrate to you what are your top priorities, what are the things that are most important to you. And when you take the time to discern those and to perceive those and notice them, this is how it is going to help you to uncover your life purpose. Because let's face it, not everybody desires that kind of career growth. Not everybody desires that kind of ambitious career growth in terms of climbing the corporate ladder, becoming an executive. Not everybody desires that. Some people desire success transferred in other areas of their life. For example, they want to become successful parents, or they want to become very well traveled, or they want to contribute in different ways that are outside of vocation and career. And if that's you, there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with deciding to have success elsewhere. And there is also nothing wrong with being ambitious in terms of career and vocation. So that's why it is important for you to be authentic in that decision. Do I desire the executive career path? And if that's still uncertain to you, remember what I said earlier, this is where it's important to have that discernment and to perceive your values. However, if upon perception of your values and what you are discerning and noticing in that, it is a true value of yours, then take this as an acknowledgement and something that can bring you intrinsic motivation as you prepare for that path. Rule number 2 starts with O, and O stands for optimize keystone communication skills. I can't emphasize enough how important communication skills are in preparation for the executive career path. Even if you're uncertain, not 100% certain that the executive career path is for you, perhaps you do want to make a more meaningful contribution. Perhaps you still want to make an impact in what you do. So communication skills will still help you there as well. So when it comes to key communication habits, what I'm referring to, number 1, is diplomacy. Diplomatic communications is how do you have prudence in dealing with people? How do you have prudence when it comes to dealing with conflicts? Because let's face it, as you are working in your organization, just wanting to have a greater impact on your organization and your industry, you will be working among people, internal to the organization, external to the organization, and so on. And so diplomacy, exuding tact and diplomacy in your communication is a keystone skill to develop. Number 2, the second area of communication is how to disseminate your insights. Because if you want to become an executive, you are going to be more importantly operating on the strategic level in the organization, the business functions, the vision and the perception of what is our mission, and that is going to be most important as an executive. So this is important. They're not going to be interested in everything that you know and the details and the minutiae of what you know. They're going to be interested in understanding what are your insights. How can that make a contribution here? How do your insights align with our strategic direction? And how far do your insights go? Right? Insights, long-term insights, how far do they expand into the time and space horizons into the future? So that is the second area of communication. And the third area of communication is to understand how do I communicate in such a way that it makes a valuable contribution to my teams, to all the levels of teams and management beneath me, and also how do I disseminate my information and how do I make a contribution when it comes to the overall organization, and even more macro from that now is a contribution to the industry. So these are levels of communication. Once again, they are diplomatic communications, number 1. They are dissemination of insights and communications to make a valuable contribution. So that is rule number 2, optimize your keystone communication skills. Now we have rule number 3, which starts with I, and I is integration into the organization. As an executive, it is important for you to be fully integrated in the organization in which you work. So integration involves, number one, truly understanding your role so that you may embrace it. It also involves, number two, embracing and really understanding and acknowledging the culture around you so that you may help your teams and your colleagues become successful. And also it includes, number three, to be able to align your purpose, your individual purpose with the purpose of the organization. So this is truly integration so that you may navigate the structures, the cultural structures of the organization, so that you may develop your own best practices, and more importantly, so that you may build equitable relationships all around you. The foundation to being fully integrated in your organization is to be able to achieve credibility and make a meaningful contribution. And the meaningful contribution is dictated by the purpose and the vision of the whole organization. So that is a strategy on how you can integrate fully into your organization. So as you're listening to this, we have gone through 3 rules so far, P, O, and I. If you're listening to this and you're saying, yes, I understand and intuitively, maybe I know the purpose of this and I knew that these things were important, but if you desire help with this, and maybe a framework and a structure on how do you achieve that and implement that into your life so that it becomes naturally to you, so then I invite you to work with me. Below in the description, there is a link for you to book a call and to speak with a member of my team to explore whether or not it is the right fit for me to support you in this journey. And if it is, then you're going to join me along with other individuals who are preparing for the executive career path. And every single week, I provide hands-on training on how do you develop keystone communication skills, and how do you develop diplomacy and tactful communications. How do you develop these insights, and how do you understand the purpose of your career direction so that you can be 100% certain that this is for you? And finally, how do you achieve and work towards building the foundation of achieving that credibility so that you can make a meaningful contribution? And every week I support you through coaching and mentorship on these goals. So if you are serious about preparing for this journey, then click the link below, and I look forward to working with you on the inside. Now we have rule number 4. Rule number 4 starts with S, and S is show self-governance. What is self-governance? Now, somebody with self-governance, true self-governance, is absolutely recognizable, because someone who has self-governance is somebody who is absolutely clear on the fulfillment of their great purpose. They have clarity on what is their career direction and their values. They are unwavering in their actions, and they are centered and poised in their commitment towards their mission of service. So that is the evidence of someone who has self-governance. So that means someone who is emotionally stable. And emotional stability is absolutely crucial when it comes to becoming an executive. At the level of strategic intervention and action in that business function, we need to have that level of self-governance, because we make hundreds of decisions in a single day. And we have communications, all sorts of communications when it comes to disseminating insights, managing conflict, differences of opinions, and even negotiation. So a great deal of self-governance is important in the stability, in our mental stability and our emotional stability as well. So this also means, how do I manage the anxiety, the fears that you might have, imposter syndrome, self-doubt? All of these things is diminished when it comes to having self-governance. And when you have self-governance, this is where you can be truly centered and poised. Hence my acronym, P.O.I.S.E, in preparation for the executive career path. The moment you can show true self-governance, this is where you will be rewarded with greater opportunity. You will be rewarded with having greater self-awareness and awareness of the environment around you, and more importantly, awarded with a more meaningful contribution and influence you can have in your industry. And rule number 5 starts with E, and E is to engage in keystone personal habits. Now, there's a whole lot of information around personal habits on the internet, and it might seem a lot busy, very busy, and a ton of information. But when it comes to preparing for your executive career path, I'm encouraging you just to focus on three areas of personal habits. The first area is self-care. And under self-care, there are 4 key activities in self-care. And self-care involves 1, oxygenation, hydration, nutrition, and exercise. Oxygenation is making sure that you're breathing, you're taking deep breaths, and your breaths are calm, and they're diaphragmatic breaths. Hydration involves drinking pure water. I'm not talking about coffee, juices, or sugary drinks, pure water and getting enough of it throughout your day. Nutrition involves nutrition, vitamins, supplements, eating well, and eating healthy. And finally, physical exercise, which involves movement. So those are the 4 areas of self-care. So that is personal habit area number 1 is self-care. The second area of personal habits is to be able to develop thinking time, a time for thinking time. Because as an executive, I mentioned earlier in the 5 rules is that communication is important. Being able to have diplomatic and tactful relationships with other people, being able to manage conflicts, self-governance, all of those 5 rules earlier. And this is where it's important. If you want to be able to disseminate your insights, to be able to know what are your insights. What exactly do you think about something? What is your opinion? To be able to formulate strong opinions and very well thought out and rationalized opinions on certain things. And oftentimes we cannot develop these things right there on the spot, because on the spot, these impromptu conversations is what a majority of your conversations are going to be. So as a result of that, how do you get good at that? Is to be able to plan some time in your everyday to think about these things. Think about what are your insights, what are your opinions, and so on. So that is a personal habit. Now, the final area of personal habit, remember you had self-care, then thinking time, and the final area of personal habits is to develop disciplined savings and investment. Now, I am referring to finances. Financial savings and financial investments. Now, you might be thinking, well, why is this important? I just want to be able to grow my career path. Why are you talking about money? And it is important because as an executive, one of the most important things is to understand, well, if I am going to be earning more money, if I am going to be providing for myself, providing for my family, and providing for those I care about, then having a disciplined savings and investment, that discipline will give you more options. It'll also help to calm some of those fears that we all have when it comes to keeping our job, saving our job, economic disturbances, right? Changes in the industry, changes in the company or infrastructure. All of these things give us pause and they cause a lot of anxiety and panic. So if you will take the time to learn about these things and develop these disciplines for yourself, it really helps to give you more security, and it really helps to give you more of a leadership as well, leadership foundation. Because if you think about it, it's really difficult to lead your teams and to lead your higher-ups if you're constantly worried about money. And developing financial wealth is more about how you manage your money after you've made it. It's more about that than how much money you've made. Right, so these are the 3 key areas of personal habits. They are self-care, they are thinking time, and the third one is disciplined savings and investment. So these are your 5 rules in preparing for an executive career path. Now, I've talked a lot about executives' communication, executive relationships as well, equitable and meaningful relationships with executives. Now, one of the most important things that I get asked is, well, how do I have that presence? So in my next video, I share about 5 rules on how to communicate effectively with executives, because that was one of the rules here. And in that video, I go really deep into the communications aspect of it. So make sure you watch until the end of that video, because those 5 rules are going to be a game changer for you. And that video is coming right up next. I'll see you there.